he said, well, I know this band, and they're just playing or going to play the ICA, but they're pretty good. And it was the Sex Pistols. So we booked them for our party.
Welcome, ladies and gents, to episode 3 of Desert Island Dickheads. And here we are. We've got a bigger, better budget for this week's show. We're going up in the world. And this week's guest, who is this bloke?
We've got Mr Keith Coffey of Wanstead, oft called the Earl of Wanstead, I believe.
Yeah,
He's
by
going
me.
to tell us about his musical journey.
Lovely. That's a strange name, Coffey.
Irish.
Is it?
Yes, Irish name.
With a Y?
With a Y, yeah.
That explains why he's always full of beans. I'm off to a flyer. Right.
All right.
Before we go, you better read out the terms and conditions, because we don't want you trying to take us to court.
Okay. I, Mr Coffey, promise to subscribe to your channel. I promise to leave a comment.
Oh, yes.
I promise to give a thumbs up. And I promise I will ring that notification bell, ding dong.
Ding dong. Off we go, Emma.
Okay, Keith, can you tell us about your earliest musical memory?
Yep, I can. So where I lived in East Ham, I lived number 30, and my nan and granddad were 5 doors away with aunts and there's uncles and everyone around. So in my house we had like a radiogram that was full of stuff.
What's that? Can you tell our younger viewers?
It's like this.
Yeah, stereo radiogram, like a cabinet with you. And in that it was, you know, my dad had all these Perry Como and Dean Martin, but up at number 20, my aunt, who was in her teens with all their friends, had a proper little record player, and they played singles, and it was the Beatles. So I was about 6, and they used to dance around. And
would this have been the 1960s?
63, and I can pinpoint a date, because March 63, the Beatles played the Granada East Ham.
Oh.
And there was a huge excitement about that. And I remember my aunt and her friends saying, oh, this is a great single, but I don't know who John and Paul is, you know, when they're singing, they couldn't work it out. So I kind of got hooked into that, and just to finish off, the following year you had Hard Day's Night, played at our Saturday morning pictures. I was thinking that this is the thing about what you've asked us to do here. I remember getting so excited because Hard Day's Night was on in July 64,
yeah.
6pence to get in. And I told my mum, I can't believe it. We went round and queued up. Because we used to go, I was 7. So the place was full of 7, 8-year-olds. No wonder it was carnage. Anyway, that was my first memory.
Oh, what a lovely memory.
It's a lovely memory, because I used to go to the Saturday morning matinee.
Yeah.
We even had that up north.
Yeah.
But I don't think they ever played Hard Day's Night. It was all stuff like Tintin and...
So did you go on your own?
All their friends. No,
yeah,
all friends.
but no adults.
No adults,
yeah.
no. I mean, Saturday morning pictures was crazy.
It was.
You knew never to sit underneath the balcony.
Yeah, no, even I remember that.
Yeah.
Me being so young and all. Oh, thank you. That's a brilliant memory. Did you
Oh,
go?
I should have said as well. My aunt
Okay.
bought me a Beatles wig.
A wig.
A Beatles wig, which was a piece of plastic,
Yeah, I can imagine
and
that.
it looked ridiculous. And my mum and dad said their hair can't be real, you know, when they look at it. And yeah, I wish I still had it.
I wish you still had it, because I'd wear it now.
What year did you go to the Granada?
64.
So you were really young.
7.
You saw the Beatles when you were 7?
No, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Hard Day's Night.
Yeah,
I
but
saw
you
the
said,
film.
did they play
They played,
live?
but they did. I didn't get to see them, but everyone was excited
Right,
about
yeah.
it, and we couldn't believe they were playing.
1963.
That was 63.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just needed to clear that up.
Okay.
Thought you might have gone to see the Beatles when you were
I
6.
wish.
All right, shall we move on?
Why not?
What's the first single you bought with your own money?
Well, I'm afraid to say there's a Beatles link as well, but when the first single I bought was Hey Jude in '68, and I remember it coming on the radio for the first time. And my mum, they've said it's the Beatles, and I couldn't believe it's them, because it's difficult to understand now. It sounded so different. And myself and my friends bought it 7 minutes long, you know, and so that was in the Co-op East Ham. I bought that.
Yeah.
Six
I mean,
shilling
what
and
is song? Because I'm a music teacher now, and I still teach that song.
Right.
I show them, the kids, the Beatles performing it live, and they all sing the end
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
And we even call it, I call it a Hey Jude ending when I want them to just
Yes.
improvise an ending.
Yeah.
I mean, how many years ago is that?
68.
68 it was.
Didn't ask. It was only number one for 2 weeks.
Is that right?
Yeah, which was a bit of a surprise.
Well, there was so much other good music as well, I suppose.
Well, there was,
Around.
but did I say to you that refrain at the end, because of the football, it's always they sing the football.
Yeah, yeah.
That
What, now,
probably-
since Bellingham?
No,
Oh, well before
I'm just
that.
showing that I
Well
know something
before that.
about football now.
Well done.
That's all I know.
I think that'll go on forever.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That will always be around.
Yeah, yeah.
That bit of music,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Anyway, did I interrupted you?
No, no.
First single.
That was it. Hey Jude.
Oh,
Heard
yeah.
it. Yep, that's it.
Sorry, I'm getting
It's
getting a bit forgetful.
it's okay.
Okay, leading on nicely to your first album you bought with your own money.
Now this was a bit more difficult because around that time there's a lot of uncles and aunts involved in my stories, I realised. But my uncle Brian was a market trader. I think it was up in Berwick Street.
Yeah.
And around the time, because I couldn't afford albums, he somehow got hold of albums and gave me. And I was desperately trying to remember which album I bought. And I've said to you, I think it was Sergeant Pepper's.
Sergeant Pepper alert.
Which, yeah, it was that, or it was this. I remember they were both close to one another, the Beach Boys 2020. So it's one of those, and it would have been in Smith's in the High Street North East Ham. I've got a feeling it might have been the Beach Boys 2020, and Brian got me this one. It was a tricky question.
I'd like to think it was this one.
Okay,
I'm
we'll
gonna look
we'll
at the
pretend
Beach
it was.
Boys.
Yeah.
The Beach Boys,
I've not heard anyone say North East Ham before. Did it used
no,
to be
High Street North East Ham.
Oh, right. Oh,
yeah,
I know
yeah,
that
yeah,
place,
yeah.
yeah.
What's your
I love a bit of
favourite
Beach
character
Boys.
on that sleeve?
It's a good question, but I think Marilyn Monroe has to, or maybe Diana Dawes actually stood
Yeah.
out. Yeah, it's a brilliant cover. I know that you've talked about this one
Everything's
before.
about it. It's just a brilliant sleeve. Brilliant cover. Funny enough, I didn't really talking about the Beach Boys. I didn't really get into them either.
Well-
Singles, some of the singles I liked, obviously.
I'm obsessed with the Beach Boys,
Yeah?
but
So
post,
what is it about them that you?
the harmonies.
Oh right.
So, but not the surfing stuff.
No.
All right, it's 66 Pet Sounds through to Holland. Holland was just, again, my dad worked in the docks, right, and he used to bring home all sorts of things, and he brought an 8-track home one day, and you know what an 8-track
What do
is?
you mean?
Yeah.
It's like
To record on?
No, an 8-track. It was a new development, and what was interesting about it is like a cassette, and you
Yeah.
put it in, and you could switch between tracks, so you could go from 1 to 10, or the rest of it. And for some reason, he had a few of them, and it had the Beach Boys Holland on it, which is an incredible album, as your cat did. And there's a link to your last guest, actually. I said to Brad, you've got to, my friend Brad, we went round to my mum and dad's house, turned all the lights off, because it was proper stereo, and it was an incredible sound. And I actually, at that point, became completely obsessed with the Beach Boys.
They like
'cause
their panning, don't they?
they do, they like, but it's the layers, it's
Yes.
the layers of harmonies, which I still love.
Did they do God Only Knows?
Yes,
Do you like
the
that one?
greatest song ever written.
I agree, and I've been learning it on the piano for 30 years, and I still can't play it. But I try every weekend.
I've just taught myself that on the guitar,
Oh.
and some of the chords are just
I
mind
know,
blowing.
it's really hard.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
a song, though, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you say your dad worked down the docks,
Yeah.
it wasn't fish, was it?
No, he's a lighterman,
Oh.
so he's on the river.
So he didn't come home with the crabs at any time.
Oh. Right, moving on. First live show.
Right, first live show. Again, it's one of those things, when I read that, I thought, what was it? And it was September the 18th, 1971, 18 days after my 15th birthday. Myself and Peter Hall, who was about this big, we both went to the Oval, Kensington, because the Who were playing.
The cricket ground.
Yeah, and there were 40,000 people there, and it was a concert for Bangladesh, and it was raising money for Bangladesh. Not that I knew, or to be honest with you, cared at that point. I didn't know where Bangladesh was, but it was an end of summer concert, and it had the Who, the Faces, Mott the Hoople, Quintessence, and Lindisfarne
Wow.
playing. But I really just went to see the Who.
I feel really jealous.
And we must have been the youngest people there, because when I went, I was a bit worried, because at that point I was still wearing my sort of skinhead kind of clothes, and I'd seen these pictures of Woodstock with these hippies. I thought, well, how do hippies dress? So the best I could do was a V-neck jumper and a t-shirt, wear a pair of jeans, and we both turned up there, and we managed to get into quite a good spot, but everyone sat down, everyone's sitting down. And we were a little apprehensive because we didn't know what was going on and how this all worked. And everyone was much older than us, all these sort of greasers and hippies. And at one point, the man over the mic's going, "The acid is bad, man. The acid is bad." I'm saying to people, what's the acid? What they talk about?
What did it mean? Were they warning people that
about
there's
drugs,
bad drugs going
LSD?
around? What, at that particular concert, or just generally that?
I think at that concert.
Okay.
All right, and I hadn't a clue what they were talking about. So the acid didn't find out till much later.
You didn't take any then?
Didn't take any acid. I wouldn't have known what to do or whatever.
Can you remember anything about the day?
Absolutely. I remember a lot about the day. And
because I never saw Motley Hoople. I've seen Ian Hunter loads of times.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. He released 2 albums last year. Still fantastic.
He's still got a great
voice. What were they like?
Well, I remember less of them.
Right.
All right. I remember seeing them. I can't remember detail. What I remember was the faces.
Head to toe in leopard.
Yes.
Rod was. Wasn't
Yeah. I didn't go particularly to see them, but that was the starting point of becoming a lifelong fan of theirs, because they were incredible. Absolutely incredible.
They're from your neck of the woods, aren't they?
No, they're more North London.
Oh, are they? Who's one of them?
Sorry, Ronnie Lane was from...
Oh, Ronnie Lane, that's right.
Ilford.
He was from Manor Park.
Was it?
Yeah, because they've named a street after him.
That's right. So they were amazing. And Kenny Jones was from Stepney, so he's from East London as well. Yeah. And so, in fact, I met him at the Wanted Tap not that long ago, and had a chat with him about that very gig.
Was he just having a drink?
Could he remember you from?
He did remember me. He said, "Was you sitting about with
that
little fella
tank top thing that you had on?"
That's right. Yeah, he did remember. No, he told me all about, because the Who were great as well, and he told me all about Keith Moon and how he had to go and give Keith Moon drinks behind the drums because Keith Moon came on with boxing gloves and everything, and then we're sitting there and there were Party 7 cans come over our head and people shouting out Wally.
I can remember Wally.
Yeah, Wally from Wheelie.
Yeah. What about Lindisfarne?
Yes, I remember them because they were a bit sing-along.
Yeah.
So that was, I kind of reckon, I think they did Fog on the Tyne and that, but I must say that's a bit more of a blur.
Right.
But
Emma, you got into Lindisfarne quite recently.
Yeah, I love Lindisfarne,
Yeah.
but it did take me a long time to delve a bit more deeply.
Yeah.
She did once call them Liechtenstein, can you remember?
Yeah,
and I thought,
I couldn't pronounce it.
Was that a German
But funny
Lindisfarne tribute band?
I've learned how to pronounce it because there is a tribute band to Lindisfarne called Linda's Farm.
okay.
And so when I have to say Lindisfarne, I think of Linda's Farm and just change the M to an N. So that's cured me.
Well done.
Thanks.
I've never saw the Who.
I've seen them about...
All the Faces.
Well, I've seen the Faces 3 times, once at East Ham Granada.
Oh.
I've seen the Who about 5 times.
Yeah. Do you know John Peel, the best gig he ever went to? Just imagine this: the Faces live at Sunderland the day they won the FA Cup 1973. Can you imagine what that would have been like?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, after that, I think I told you I'd rattle on.
Yes,
but
I'll stop you in a minute.
But that kind of period, 71 through to about 75, we managed to see quite a few amazing bands when I look back on it. So in 72, I'd started working at Mr Byright on a Saturday, where I met my very good friend Bill Smith, who I'm still lifelong. Now, Bill loved Emerson, Lake and Palmer, which I hated, and I was more of the pop person, so where we came halfway in between was Status Quo. So we went to see Status Quo at the Mile End Sundown in 72. And the embarrassing thing, I look back on it, thank God phones didn't exist, right, with cameras and everything. Because there's me and Bill with our shirts off at the front, literally banging our heads, on long hair, banging our heads. And I don't remember seeing any girls there, but if there had been, they would have been legging it to the back, because it couldn't have been a pretty sight. But so we saw that, saw Zeppelin at Earls Court, saw David Bowie.
David Bowie, yeah. Look, our last guest, Mark, he was at that gig.
Was he?
The Earls Court thing. It's my ambition to interview all 18,000 people who went to that gig, because if you read the, I saw a headline of the Melody Maker.
Yeah.
It was a complete and utter disaster.
What, that?
Yeah, that gig.
Why was it a
The
disaster?
sound was terrible. There was fighting.
God, I don't remember any of that.
Can't you remember none of that? He couldn't remember it either.
I
He
remember-
can remember the sound being terrible.
Yeah, we were right up the top, and the sound wasn't great. It was around Aladdin Sane, wasn't it? Around that time, people with their face.
I think it was the first time they'd ever put a concert on there, so
Right.
they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, I remember saw Zeppelin there not long after. I actually recorded it. I've
did you?
tape, but unfortunately, most of it is me going, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to have to move you on.
Okay, go on.
If we talk about every live show,
True.
we'll obviously be here for
Yeah.
a month at least.
I warned you.
So you've already alluded that you're a bit of a skinhead, but the next question says, would you identify, well, in those days, I assume, because now I don't think you would
No.
need to identify as any of these, as a teddy boy, a mod, a rocker, hippie, glam rocker, punk, heavy metal kid, goth, new romantic, or soul boy, or indeed anything else?
Well, back in the day, it was I thought I was a mod, and I do think I've still got, I still like the old button-down shirts and jackets.
You're very
and things.
dapper.
Yeah,
And
known for it.
it was so mods, and then it went into skinheads, where we're all into our ska music and all that. And then everything changed very quickly, didn't it?
Yeah.
Once I started on my college course, you suddenly became, I had my Oxford bags for a bit, or flares, and so I think I would say that mod would be a constant for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you remember them denims that were really baggy?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
Well,
I think I've seen a picture of you wearing them.
that's right. Well, you see, I worked at Mr Byright, as I said.
Was that a men's outfit?
Men's outfitters, and
Suit you,
it,
sir.
it was haute couture of the lowest level,
Right.
the cheapest. But it meant that you could maintain, get things like gaucho trousers and Oxford. I've still got that old Oxford bags that I had, and tank tops, and they were dreadful. But it changed sort of almost from every 6 months. You'd sort of change a bit, and then when I went to college, punk was in. So again, it was like pseudo punk, I guess.
What about punk? Did you like that much?
Yes, I did. Yeah, very much. Yeah. I was more on the Sex Pistopls side than the Clash side.
Oh, were you?
But I liked the Clash as well. Yeah, loved it.
Nice.
Great. Right. Getting a bit romantic now.
Mm.
Is there a song that you fell in love to?
Was an album, but
I think we can be flexible. then.
okay. But this album, fulfilling this first finale. But Heaven is 10 zillion miles light years away would be probably the track. But this is an incredible album, and it's beautiful.
I saw that and I thought that's beautiful. And I used to be a massive Stevie Wonder fan
Yeah.
when I was a teenager, and I thought I had all his albums. I've never even heard of this
This
one.
is a brilliant album. It's an album to fall in love to.
Oh,
I said,
maybe I should try it. Maybe that's why I never fell in love.
I mean, I haven't. Funny enough, sometimes I can look back at a record that I've never bought,
Yeah.
or from a band that I didn't like much,
we
but I
see
can always
it?
remember the sleeves.
Yeah.
I can't even remember. I've never seen this sleeve before
Right.
in my entire life.
Oh, it's
In fact, there's only one track on here that I know, and that's Boogie
on
on
Reggae Woman.
Woman.
Yeah,
I think that was
that
a
was a
single.
single,
wasn't it?
yeah. I'd really recommend that.
So, who did you fall in love with from this album?
Well, I'll try and tell you this really quickly.
Yeah.
So before I went to college, I went to do industrial design, and you had to go to an interview. I went for the interview in Leeds, and when I was sitting there, there's this absolutely beautiful woman across the way. And I thought, I wonder if I'll see her again. And when I went to college, I kept bumping into her, and there she was. And I thought she wouldn't be interested in me. I was at a party, and this beautiful woman came down the stairs and held my hand.
Oh my god.
And that was her. And so I then, we obviously saw more of each other and ended up playing this.
Oh.
Nice one. Have you?
And that's my wife.
Oh my god, that's what I was thinking.
yeah.
Can I ask? Dare
Yeah,
I
yeah,
ask?
yeah.
Did it continue after
continued,
the college?
yes.
And now you have how many lovely children?
3 children,
Grandchildren?
6 of those at the moment, 7. So, yes.
Thanks, Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder. He helped.
Like I said to your friend Brad, do you curse every time you hear it?
I couldn't possibly
Talking
say.
about Stevie Wonder, do you know he's one of the biggest conspiracy theories on the internet.
Theorists?
No,
Or the subject of a
Yeah,
theory?
the subject.
Of what?
And you know what
It's not that he's not blind.
Yeah, that he's not blind.
Why?
Well, apparently there's footage of him. Somebody will walk when he's on stage or rehearsing. Somebody will walk past him and knock a mic stand over, and he'll go.
No.
And then
but you can probably
somebody
hear.
will walk by when he's sat at the piano. They'll go, "You're all right, Pete."
The first gig I went to, as I've said before, was Stevie Wonder at Earl's Court, and yeah, he was definitely blind. Anyway, it doesn't matter about that. He was brilliant.
Funny
and
enough, I'd like to believe it.
He is brilliant.
I'd like to believe it.
Right, moving on. What song would you like to be played at your funeral?
Right, Solomon Burke, Message to My Son.
Oh.
It's have you heard it? It's the most
No.
beautiful song. He actually sings "Message to My Sons," and I have 3 sons. It is very sentimental.
Yes.
But the lines, one of the lines is "Just promise me you'll grow old." He's saying to his sons. So it's a beautiful song.
Oh.
Is he? What is he, Solomon? But I know the name, but is he a soul singer?
Yeah. He's no longer with us. I saw him once. He's actually doing this with Jules Holland. You probably
right.
find it is a
I'll
beautiful.
listen out for that then.
It is a
At
fantastic-
least he's not jazz.
It's not jazz. No.
Right, lovely. Who inspired you to pick up an instrument?
Yeah.
We said that Keith Coffey is actually a musician and in several bands, and a singer, guitarist, banjo player.
Oh yeah.
Of sorts.
Are they the guitar and banjo?
Guitar, mandolin, and banjo of a busking level, I always regard, but I do.
That's enough.
Yeah.
And a songwriter.
Songwriter,
Yeah.
again.
I love your song about going to Celia Hammond's to get the cat.
Oh, the cat. Yeah,
Please
yeah.
choose me. And that lovely
Meet
cat
a
we've
Cat
saw.
from Celia Hammond.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
We
Yes.
chose her.
Oh, there you go.
She's 20 now.
Yeah, we've still got 1 left from there. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, but we came away with 3 as well, because
Yeah.
Celia was very good at, saying, oh, these 2
They
are a
can't be alone,
family.
yeah.
Or have another one, you might as well have 3, so
Yeah,
we ended
yeah.
up with 3.
Yeah. So what's the question?
Who inspired you to?
Forgotten.
All right. So if you go back to the beginning, if I'm honest, there's a moment where I saw a guitarist. I thought I must do that thing. It was only later on when I started playing guitar. It'd be Ry Cooder and Lowell George from Little Feat, which I aspired to but never got anywhere near. But to start with, I loved Ready Steady Go, and I loved Cathy McGowan. Again, I was only very young, but I think I had a thing.
That's a TV show, was it?
TV show where you had all the bands, the Stones, the Beatles, the Kinks, Dave Clark 5, and I thought, well, if Cathy McGowan likes these, I wouldn't mind doing that. So when I got a guitar, my milkman, and my dad enrolled me in this milk club, all right? And what you could do, and it's amazing, I'm so pleased I've still got this, because you could choose anything. You could choose any project. So, for example, experiment with flight. You could, the world in a zoo, how to be an athlete, all these things, but it's how to play the guitar.
Oh, right.
And what you used to do is you'd cut out this, and it's all free, apart from you 2 extra pints. And you'd say, I want to learn how to play guitar. And I was given, you get this little booklet, which meant I could play guitar, and that's how I learned.
So you learnt from the booklet?
I learnt from the milkman.
So
It wasn't Ernie, was it?
Did you have to buy 2 extra pints
Yes.
every week? Or
No, just
every
for that.
day?
No, every time
Oh,
you
just
want.
for the-
Just so, for example, if you wanted to be a poet, you'd do that. You'd buy
And
2.
you'd get- just for 2 pints of
2
milk?
pints, you'd be a poet.
Did you have a big family that you could get through the milk all right?
Well, it's only 2 pints. I mean, just for one day, once in a week,
Yeah.
just put some extra on your
Oh,
Christmas.
that's really interesting.
Yeah. So that's
And this was obviously the milk board, was
the
it?
milk board.
industry?
It only lasted a year, but you could be a member. Look, I'm proper membership.
Oh, nice
Are you
one.
still a member?
No, up to the age of 18. So it's lapsed. I got books on other things, but I can't remember what they were. But that's what inspired me to play the guitar.
Yeah.
The Milkman and Cathy McGowan.
So was the little booklet, did it have things like chord shapes?
Yes, just chord shapes. That's all it
And
was.
some songs with the
Yeah,
letters?
very basic stuff.
Yeah, that's how I learned.
Yeah.
It was a great show, Ready Steady Go. They used to do weird things. I've seen Cathy McGowan singing I've Got You, Babe. Well, miming I've Got You, Babe with Brian Jones.
Yes, I've seen that.
Have you seen it?
Yeah. It's a brilliant programme.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Do you know they were all Dave Clark 5,
Yeah.
the Tottenham sound, he got a phone call years later saying of somebody saying they're throwing all these tapes in a skip.
Yeah.
And the bloke said, I think it's ready, steady, go. So he went down, gave him 50 quid for it, and he owns all the rights to them.
Wow.
He rescued them.
Wow. Yeah, it's a brilliant programme. Yeah.
What has been your proudest musical moment?
Can I change that? I don't know about being proud of anything, but quite pleased.
Okay.
All right. Again, I was sort of thinking that through. So when I started on my foundation course again, that would have been September 75. By November, I'd sort of become friendly with some people on the course, and we decided to put on a Christmas party. So we booked the upstairs of the Duke's Head, and we said we're going to have the party for everyone on the 6th floor.
The Duke's Head in Wanstead?
No, the Duke's Head in East Ham, Barking Road.
Right.
It's closed down now. And we booked the floor, and so everyone that was on the 6th floor, which included the foundation, illustration, we invited everyone. And I'd got really friendly with a fellow called Chris Gabrin, who was our visiting photography tutor. And he actually photographed the front cover of New Boots and Panties.
I love that photo.
So Chris did that. So he had a lot of contacts. All right. He had a lot of contacts. So when he found out we're having a party, he said, well, I know this band. And they're just playing or going to play the ICA, but they're pretty good. And it was the Sex Pistols. So we booked them for our party. And the place upstairs was rammed with all our students. And they've come on, and they were amazing immediately, because no one had heard of them or heard anything like it. And it was just incredible. Johnny Rotten knelt down on the stage with his back to the audience and just did his thing. And everyone's going, wow, this is, wow. And after 4 numbers, the governor of the pub pulled the plug.
Because it was too loud.
Didn't like it. What's this rubbish? You know, we had a room full of people, but if I'm saying... people.
No wonder that pub's closed down.
Yeah, no wonder. No.
So was this like Johnny Rotten, Glenn Matlock?
Glenn Matlock, yeah.
And the other two?
Yeah, Paul and Steve Jones, yeah. Paul Cook and Steve Jones. And immediately thought, wow, I've never heard anything like it. And it was brilliant. And funny enough, people the next day said, what a great night. And I can't remember most of it, but people must have still enjoyed the rest of the night. I don't know what went on after that.
So did you still pay them? Can you remember?
Yeah, they got paid. I mean, we sold tickets. We had the money in.
Right. Okay.
And I think whatever else was going on, I honestly can't remember the rest of the night.
If only you'd known then who you were booking, you could have built a career on that one story.
Yeah.
But now you're hearing it here first on Desert Island Dickheads. Don't say that we haven't got exclusives.
So that's something I was very pleased with.
Yes.
I mean, the other one I said was having the nerve to stand up and sing and play. And the first was the other idea in a youth club, which meant now I've got just loads of friends that I've learnt through, playing in bands like, the people Brad and Bill and Al and all sorts.
Yeah.
When I listen to your stories, you Cockney boys down there, I realise what a deprived
I think that's
childhood I had.
Right.
There was nothing. You talk about your aunties and uncles. I never had aunties and uncles.
Right.
Didn't have grandparents.
Right.
And you did, but they weren't in your
No,
town.
my grandparents were dead.
Yeah, but you had aunties and uncles.
Yeah, but they lived 200 miles away, so I didn't know who they were. And there was a... Funny enough, my sister, she had a better time with it, because in where we grew up, in a place called Nuneaton, there was a co-op hall, and they used to have dances on there. And they had the Beatles. I was looking at it.
What, live?
Yeah, Beatles and the Stones.
Did they?
And the Kinks. She went to see I don't think she saw the Beatles and the Stones, but she went to see the Kinks. And she's got a lifelong hatred of Ray Davies. Because when they were all in a line, waiting for his autograph, he farted. And
She's
she didn't like
never
that.
forgiven
No,
him.
never forgiven
She's
him.
a very proper
But
lady.
in 1967, there was a concert, New Year's Eve it was, and a band called Pinkerton's Assorted Colours.
All right.
Ever heard of them?
No.
Mirror, Mirror on the Wall.
Right.
Mirror, Mirror on the Wall.
I remember
it was
that.
a minor hit. It was them. I think they were quite local to Nuneaton, but there was a bit of a crush on the staircase and 4 kids died.
Oh, right.
So it was closed down.
That's brought the day down a bit, isn't
They
it?
brought the day down again.
Yeah.
So there was no sort of music scene for me growing up until I started one.
Yes.
So
I'm just thinking though, if she went to see the Beatles and the Stones,
she never
at
went
this
to see them,
car-
I don't think. But they played at the
But
the
was
Park
that
Hall.
before your time? Is that
Yeah.
why you didn't go?
No, I was like you, just a young kid.
Yeah,
then.
but he went.
No, he never.
Oh yeah, but he went to the pictures.
I went to the pictures.
Right.
Well, I went to the pictures to see Help.
Yes, yes.
Anyway, what's your favourite album artwork?
Right. Well, it's actually not as good as a Wink, for this reason. Right. For a start, I loved that at the back. Just shall I hold that? For you?
Yeah.
Love that. But actually, the main reason, you can see it's well used.
It is.
Is because of this. Again, when I said I loved the faces, it's the band I always wanted to be in. It looked great fun. Now this poster came with it, which is huge. Right.
It's massive. You can wallpaper your room.
You could.
with that.
I did have it on my wall for a period of time. I don't know how your viewers can. Now, the thing is, if you look at all these little pictures, it shows you what the real life of a rock star would have been, with all sorts of stuff going on, which I thought, that looks like good fun. And you'd need to sort of look closely at all of that to see what I mean.
The things that jump out is booze, naked women, and the Queen Mother.
Yeah, the Queen Mother was the main thing.
I wonder if anybody out there has got those little figures of the faces. I bet they're worth a few quid now.
Yeah,
No, they're fantastic.
They're
Look at the
brilliant.
Rod Stewart one.
love it.
Seen it?
Yeah.
And you can tell that's Ronnie Wood.
Yeah.
These would be worth going on to a Dragon's Den with.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you could
Yeah,
do
let me-
Rod and Ronnie,
let me
Mick
help
and
you.
Keith.
Yeah. They are good, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what a great album as well. They did 2 albums. That's Every Picture Tells a Story, which is either Rod Stewart or him and the Faces, but they're all
I'm
on
almost
it.
certain it's a solo album. that.
Okay.
But obviously Ronnie Wood and all them played on it.
Yeah,
So stay with me.
yeah.
In the morning.
You wouldn't be allowed to write that song these days.
You wouldn't know.
Quite
Excellent.
rightly.
Favourite all-time band or artist? What a horrible question.
Well,
but-
you know, I'd have to say the Beatles. It's, you know, there's no question. It's music. It was in order. It's Beatles and then Beach Boys. Funny enough, then the Stones. But I still play Beatles stuff, and their White Album was I could play over and over again. Their double album.
Okay.
Number 9.
Number 9. What?
Number
yeah.
9. It's funny, see, even, I mean, I was born about 500 yards from the beach,
Right.
but there was no California girls on that beach, I can tell you, or
No.
surfing.
No.
It was just coal dust.
Right. Have you got to share with us any precious bit of memorabilia?
I could have brought it, but I sent you a photo. I don't know whether you've got the photo.
I've got the photo. I shall put the photo up on the
Okay.
mix. In fact, there it is.
Right. So I bought my first guitar in a place called J60s, and that would be my memorabilia. The J60, just about 4 or 5 years before I bought it there. So unfortunately, Stevie Marriott wasn't working there at the time, but that's where the Small Faces formed, in that very store. That's Steve Marriott, who lived in Manor Park, Kenny Jones and Ronnie Lane, who, Steve Marriott technically lived in more Forest Gate, and Ronnie Lane was Manor Park, and that's where they formed their band, and so in a way that I've still got it cost 15
You
quid.
still got the guitar?
£15 is a Vox Teardrop.
Do you play it?
No, not anymore. But it's not very playable at the moment. It's good for slide because it's got.
So what year did you buy it?
That would have been around about 1969, 70, something like that. And so I think they must have formed their band mid-60s. Yeah, that would be my memorabilia.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I can only ever remember seeing one person play that guitar.
What,
Do you know who it would be?
Brian Jones?
Brian Jones.
Yes, yeah. They actually remarketed them as Brian Jones
Oh, did
guitar.
they?
They're selling them again, you know, but this is the...
When you look back, Brian Jones, he just stuck out, didn't
Yeah, yeah.
he? You know, he was like the only blonde in those days.
Yes.
Those days. Now everyone's blonde.
Oh, quickly, I'd just like to say, Ian Jury, I'm on the sleeve of one of his singles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
From when you were
Because I used to be a supermodel.
Yeah.
I used to do modelling.
What single is that?
The single's one of the very last ones. I think it was Mr Something Pants.
Oh, yes.
You remember it?
Yes. I've got that album. I've forgotten what it's called. Yeah.
Well, I was on the CD single.
Oh, right.
And the photographer was, talking about famous photographers, Storm Doodah.
Yes.
You know Storm?
Yeah, yes.
He did all Pink Floyd
Yes,
stuff.
yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah,
I'm going to look that up.
Eh?
I'm going to look up
Yeah,
that
that's
single.
well, I shall put it up on
Oh,
there.
right.
I did a couple of jobs with him, Storm. He was
Yeah.
a funny man.
Was
we,
he?
we hit it off in a strange way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did an album. I don't know much about the band Dream Theatre.
No.
No, never heard of them.
No.
They're like a prog rock band.
Right.
I was on their sleeve as well.
Right. So Keith, it's been really lovely to have you on the show and have you round. So we're on to the last question now, because it's quite sad. Would you like to recommend something you've discovered lately to our viewers?
Well, there's no bands within the last year that I could say that I could say I'm listening to. About a year ago, I got obsessed by a band called Wet Leg, which I think are amazing. I'm waiting for their second album to come out. But what I will recommend is, and I'm not a fan of Robbie Williams particularly, but went to see the film, the Robbie Williams film, where he is played by a CGI chimpanzee called Better Man. It's phenomenal.
Really?
It's incredibly... Within 5 minutes, you forget you're looking at a chimpanzee. You're looking at, you know, a character in the film. It's some of the dance sequences and music sequences, you've got to see it on the big screen, are incredible. There's one sequence in Regent Street which I think cost £2 million on its own to produce. It's very emotional. So I would recommend seeing that film.
I'll
Good
keep
tip.
saying to you, I fancy seeing that
Yeah.
film. I've seen the trailer. It
Yeah.
looks very, very interesting.
Well, I want to see it too.
What about the Bob Dylan film? You going to go and see that?
Yes, I'm going to go and see that. Yeah, I quite fancy that.
I know Wet Leg. That
Yeah.
I almost called my band Wet Bed because it's something that I'm really into at the minute. But
What kind of music do Wet Leg do?
They're indie.
yeah, indie.
Oh, right.
They're a girl duo, aren't they?
Yeah,
From the Island White or
I don't
Isle of
know.
Man or
Maybe
something.
the lead singer's a bit like Kathy McGowan. Maybe
Yeah, she
that's
looks a bit like
that's maybe my thing I like. But I love they're very simple, catchy tunes. You know, and I love the melody.
You might like a band. I think there's another girl singer in that band. They're called The Last Dinner Party.
Yes,
You know it?
I do know it. Yeah, they're good as well. I like them,
Good,
yeah.
great single. They
Yeah,
had.
yeah.
I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, there's about 5 or 6 of them in the band, isn't there? I think.
So
There's the-
much to have a look at then from this show.
It's been fantastic.
It has.
The time has flown by.
Certainly
Keith,
has.
we'd like to thank you for coming.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
And we'd like to present you. I actually saw one of these. The Desert Island Dickhead fridge magnet. Saw one on eBay already going for 50 quid. So you cherish that.
That's
but
fantastic.
Take better care of that than you've done of your album.
That one in particular.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I mean,
one,
look,
yeah.
has been well used. Many a
But
party.
also, you were a headmaster once.
I was a head of a secondary school.
Yeah?
Yes, once.
In that case, I'd like to hand my homework in. It's from 1971. It's a bit late. And as you can see,
Yeah.
I wasn't very good at school.
Yeah. I don't think you should have drawn that. No.
But thanks anyway, Keith.
No, thank you.
You've been watching Desert Island Dickheads. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Keith Coffey. Subscribe and all that jazz, and we'll see you again soon.